One, two, three. One, two, three. One, two, three.
Cannot hear. You need to speak into the mic. Can't hear Sue.
Testing.
Now we can hear you.
All right, Cindy, let's do it. One of the things we're doing is recruiting volunteers. Are they okay? All right, we're recruiting volunteers to help us. We need coordinators for some of our programs, and we're also looking for board members. So if you're a person who wants to be a part of an organization where it focuses on its members, where there's an activity every day for members to keep them mentally stimulated, physically active, and socially connected, and where your skills can help those on their long journey with Parkinson's, then our support group needs you. At the sign-in table, you will find an application, and I'd be more than happy to help you fill that out if you have some, if you are inclined to help us with that. Couple other handouts. There's one over there on exercise and speech therapy opportunities. We are very fortunate in this community that we have not only our regular Wednesday chair exercise class, but a variety of other exercise activities, and they're all good for different people with different skill levels. John and I participate in the senior cardio. I participate in chair exercises. John does rock steady, as a number of you in the audience do. And we have a new program called, Kay, what's her program called? Stop Fit. Stop Fit. Right. She needs right. $5, and she needs Friday. We should send it out at $5. Okay, she's on the list. So be sure to check them out, because remember, we all know that exercise is the one thing that's been documented to help slow down the progression of Parkinson's. And that's what we all want to do, is slow it down. We also have some survey opportunities. Dance with Parkinson's survey is being done by the Russell Sage College. They're looking for individuals with Parkinson's to just take a 10-minute survey. You don't have to have dance experience. They want to see what your movements might possibly be. And so it's just a quick survey. And you'll be getting an email about that early next week, but there also are some flyers there. Also, the Pima Council on Aging wants to hear from anybody over 50 in Pima County. They're conducting their annual Community Health and Aging Survey. And there's flyers on the table, so you can find out more information about them. And it's important to help them plan for the future for the older adults that they serve. So be sure to take a minute to fill that out. November 5th at 6 o'clock Central Time, the Parkinson's Voice Project is having a sing-out. This will feature over 400 people who have gone through Singing with Intent. It's on Zoom. You can sign up by going, if you just Google Sing Out at Parkinson's Voice Project. And I understand that it's a very moving event to see 400 and some people with Parkinson's singing together. It's free. Just sign up online and entertain yourself.
It's .org.
.org?
Yeah, it's Parkinson's Voice Project.
.org. Okay.
And not no S in the part. No S.
No
No, it's
apostrophe.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Also, on November the 11th, we are going to play. Play for us is participation and laughter in the arts for you. And Jane has lined up Valerie Kiesel. She'll be leading a class on making Christmas ornaments and other decorations with corks. And unfortunately, we won't be drinking the wine that those corks came from, but it promises to be a good time. And in December, Charlene's going to be doing a presentation, and we're going to make small gift boxes for old Christmas cards. So be sure to see Jane to sign up for those classes. All right, we're coming back to do something. Yeah. Okay. All right. On December 3rd is our annual holiday luncheon. It's going to be at the Desert Hills Rec Center at noon. You need to bring a dish to pass. The meat and table service and beverages provided. And we have special entertainment. As members of our group, we'll be putting on a Reader's Theater skit entitled Also, mark your calendars for December 16th. It's Christmas at Canoa, featuring the flute choir.
Can you shake the mic off?
From the sporting one of their Christmas tree lights. So be sure to do that. Today we have two different presentations. One is by Linda Lemke, and Linda's going to be teaching us how to enjoy walking with Nordic Walking. As an outdoor recreation specialist, she's been inviting folks to come outside and play for over 4 decades. She has a BS in recreation from the University of Utah and is a PSIA Level 2 certified alpine instructor. She's a passionate advocate for healthy outdoor lifestyles. So let's give her a big hand and welcome her to the Parkinson.
Right again. Just turned off and on that mic up there. There you go. Take it out of this, out of the holder. So there we go. She'll have
Okay, well, thank you. And I am really excited to be here today and participate in your overall program theme of Thrive with Intent, and specifically movement with intent. In 2005 was when I got introduced to Nordic Walking, and having been a walker for 20 years already at that point, I was thrilled to find out that there was something I could do with my walk that would make it a better walk and get me all these added benefits. In 2008, Liz Ogren, who was early diagnosed with Parkinson's when she was 47, came into Hoygaard's, the store that I was working in, and suggested that perhaps I would like to help her do some Nordic walking with the Parkinson's group. It was November, so in Minnesota. So I figured, of course, that Liz had an inside space all set up for us because she wanted to do winter walks. She is the founder of Pedal and Roll for Parkinson's in Minnesota. So she'd been biking all summer and needed a new activity. I soon found out that we were meeting at the Golden Valley Country Club golf course, which was not inside. We walked outdoors all winter long. And the good news for us is that the days that Liz chose were all in their 30s and sunny, no wind, and we had very little snow, so we walked on frozen grass for most of the winter. And following that, Liz and I got busy, and we have crisscrossed Minnesota and North Dakota and Iowa and Wisconsin taking bikes and Nordic walking poles to pedal, roll, and stroll for Parkinson's with lots and lots of different Parkinson's support groups. So I'm really excited to be here with the Green Valley Parkinson's Support Group and expanding hopefully your knowledge about Nordic walking and how the benefits of that. So how many of you took your prescriptions this morning? Or sometime today, right? And did you include your MED prescription with that? And that would be your movement every day, your activity every day kind of movement. So exercise, as was pointed out already, we know is very, very important for delaying the onset of Parkinson's, not the onset, but the progression of Parkinson's. The only thing that has been shown to really slow it down, and the good news is that it's free. You can take it in as big or small a dose as you want it. You can take it at any time of the day, first thing, middle of the day, before lunch, after lunch, before dinner, before the sun goes down. If you can't sleep, you can get up and do it in the middle of the night even. You can share with a friend or even your dog, and you can take it just for you, if that's what works for you. And the only side effects of exercise are that you'll feel better, you'll look better because you feel better on the inside, and you improve your quality of life because you're moving more easily during all the rest of the daily activities of your life. So for me, exercise, the most important thing is that you choose something that you enjoy doing. And I really, really, really love Nordic walking. And I love the difference that it makes for people once they get started with it, especially for people who are facing some movement barriers, whether that's just, I don't like to move and I'm, a couch potato, or I've got something else in my life that is prohibiting and making it harder for me to move. Liz, my friend, will tell you that the poles have been the game changer for her. So Nordic walking. How many of you have ever tried Nordic walking? You've seen people doing it. Maybe you've seen me. I've been walking around here for the last 4 years in the wintertime with my poles, so maybe you wouldn't find me there. So Nordic walking is all about fitness with poles. And I'm going to try to put this up here because it gets harder. Yeah. It's harder to show you and have the poles in my hand. So Nordic walking adds many, many benefits to your everyday walk. Right? It comes from cross-country skiing. It's credited to come from Finland. And it's all about taking the cross-country skiers' summer workout of leaping and bounding and running with their poles and bringing it to a walker's level. So they went from here to here, right? So we don't really ask you to do anything different than simply walking with the poles. You take your walk with your arm swing and your stride, and you stand up tall and you walk with the poles. Now, one of the things that's hard when you're first diagnosed with Parkinson's is that you start to walk a little slower. You maybe are leaning too far forward. You're not using your core muscles, so your posture kind of starts to shut down. You're not moving both sides of your body as easily as you did before. All those things you've noticed, and now what happens is that the Nordic walking poles have the power, when they're in your hands, to improve your posture, brings you upright. It improves your balance because I got 4 feet on the floor. It's a core activity. So when you're pushing down on the ground on poles, the poles are activating core muscles. Now, why are core muscles so important? Everybody always asks me. I'm not worried about my core. Besides, I hate sit-ups. I do not like getting on the floor and doing sit-ups. So what happens is that if I lose my posture and my core muscles, pretty soon what happens is that I'm not picking up my feet. Shuffling is another problem that we face with Parkinson's, because I get to the point, I let go of this, and now I'm here, and I start shuffling and dragging my feet. My arms are not swinging, so it's difficult to move. I might start doing some of this. But once I have the poles in my hands and I start working them against the ground, I'm now in an upright position. The poles encourage a natural arm swing, full extension. Takes a while. You have to give yourself some time to do that. It improves your confidence in your walking, and it's fun because usually you're walking with somebody else, and sometimes a whole big group of people. So this is what Nordic Walking for newly diagnosed persons with Parkinson's, using the poles for fitness and all these other benefits we begin to look at. So, and it says that it's always a little harder when you're trying to take just a few steps at a time. But it doesn't matter how fast you walk, how slow you walk, how short you are, how tall you are. The poles will help you move into that natural rhythm of your walk. Okay. So now the other thing that happens with Parkinson's is that as the disease progresses, it gets more difficult to do a full arm swing. Balance gets a little bit more difficult for that piece of a full extension of my arm and that full arm swing. At that point, we can modify your walk with the poles, and we can do more of a pole walking rather than Nordic walking. Nordic walking technique is defined as that down and back push the pole. So as soon as I do this, people could argue that I was no longer Nordic walking. To me, if you got poles in your hands and you're walking with them, you're probably doing some sort of Nordic walking. Besides, I'm Norwegian, so we're going to go with it. So, the other piece that we can add, poles I was using have straps on them. There are poles now done by urban polling that don't have straps. And sometimes this is more comfortable than being strapped in, especially if I'm rethinking cane or walker, and what I want is a daily walking assist, but getting in and out of straps is going to be a little bit difficult to do all day long. So what happens as I start to make movements gets a little bit more difficult for me and stuff, I can change the way I'm using my poles. I can still use the same poles that I'm using with the straps, but it starts to look more with the poles moving with me rather than pushing me from behind. So, we're going to be here. I'm still upright. I'm still working on my posture. I'm still working on core because I'm pushing down on this pole, although I'm pushing down on it in front of me. So I may not getting as much pressure on it, but I'm still getting core pressure on that pole as I'm going. It's putting me in a very balanced position. It's allowing me to move my body and get that same natural rotation, just on a smaller, more concentrated level. And again, the confidence to be able to move from space through space, from one place to another, getting up and down and using my poles for that is a really, really important thing to be able to keep going. So when I start to lose my natural gait, lose my striding, I can still use my poles to keep me moving, keep me balanced. Movement every day. That's the MED part of it. So once I've got my poles, and you can also use your poles for daily exercises. One of the things that's come out from the Parkinson's Foundation and stuff like recently was the whole thing about all the different exercise modems that you need to be using. You've got to be doing your strength training, you've got to be working on your heart, doing the aerobic stuff, and you've got to be doing your stretching. So I've got my poles, I can now use them to do some stretching. So I'm going to borrow a chair. I heard somebody mention chair exercises. Does this screw me up without the mic now? Are we okay?
No, you're off the camera.
Just speak up.
You want me to back
No,
up?
no,
Yeah.
if you speak up, we'll pick it up.
Okay, we'll put it up here. Is this better? always wanted to be on stage. So now I'm in my chair and I need to work on some strength. I'm going to push myself up and lower myself down. Up and lower myself down. Oh, I should do it again. Push myself up and lower myself down. Even the poles or the poles are fairly light. I can use them for some strength training and stretching over my head. A little bit of brain work would be catching themselves up and out. Coordination exercises my brain as well as my body. So that's really important. I can use them to paddle. Now I'm going to get some twisting. So I'm just easily just paddling down the river. Once I've done some straight training, I can use them to stretch. So using the poles down, I can bend over for a side stretch. I can put the poles in my hand. I can take them all the way forward. And if I wanted to do this without sitting down, and I'm really working on my balance, I can come in here, and now I can start doing some of the same thing. So I can stretch. I can get a really good back stretch here, stretching my legs, back. Again, I can put them on the side. So I'm balanced and supported. Have what you need to be moving my whole body to better stretch than I might try to do that. But using my full core balance as my power to be able to move instead of standing and hang on to that chair. Puts me in a little bit better position. If I hang on to that chair, I start doing this, right? And so, and if I'm too close to it, then I can't move. So the pose can be an alternative way to get some of that other exercise and movement that you need during the day. So let's talk just for a moment about poles. There are a lot of poles come in many different styles. How many of you have ever been a cross-country skier, right? Or a downhill skier, or a rollerblader with poles, so those scary guys. And then of course there's hiking. How many of you have hiking poles? You can get out on those beautiful trails, right? And then we have Nordic Walking poles. So when Nordic Walking came along, they needed a pole that could do repetitive action on hard surface for the most part, although you can use your poles on dirt, grass, and sand, and snow and ice as much as you want to. So they needed a pole, and the pole companies went back to the design table and they said, okay, we've got a new challenge. It kind of looks like a cross-country pole. It's going to keep me balanced like a downhill ski pole, but it's its own kind of a pole. And so the Nordic Walking poles were born. They all come with a rubber tip. So the rubber tip is all about, this is my surface area for pushing on when I am walking with the pole. So the pole is always working at that backward angle behind me. The tip grabs the ground and I push down and back on it. That's what activates those upper core muscles. 30% more of your body's muscles than just plain old walking. So it's this piece of pushing back. We need a nice big flat base to do that on, right? We do have the carbide tip underneath though, same as you have on your hiking pole. It's kind of that animal that's it's a pole that's a cross of a lot of different things. So it has a carbide tip like your hiking pole. So if I'm going to go onto the onto trail, I can take my poles with me, but I'm going to take the rubber tip off and use that sharp tip on the trail when there's not a hard surface. Most Nordic Walking poles are adjustable, but your hiking pole is 3 parts because it's got to get that little. It's got to go in your suitcase or your backpack when you're not using it. The Nordic Walking pole typically is 2 parts, so it doesn't get as small as that, but it does adjust to pretty much any height. good thing about an adjustable pole is that when I do take that rubber tip off, I want to make my pole a little bit longer because I essentially am shortening it. So if I'm going to go walk on the Aspen Trail, my poles are set at 118 centimeters. If I'm walking around on the sidewalk or the paved path, I'm set at 115. So that little bit of a difference, but it makes all the world of difference because it's where that tip lands on the ground and lets me push. If it's too short, then it's not at the right height. Doesn't work as well. The other thing is we look at the top of the pole and we have a strap that looks a lot, here we go, like a cross-country ski strap. So it keeps the pole in my hand. The poles are also balanced. They have what we would call a swing weight. If you've never cross-country skied, you've never really experienced that because a hiking pole and a downhill ski pole don't really have swing weight to them, which isn't a bad thing because we don't ask them to swing and do anything. We put them where we want them to be. But a Nordic walking pole, as I'm walking, is set up to do this. So it follows my hand. All right, here we go. Technology. It goes in and out of my hand this way. And it moves with me. That's what allows me to put that backward pressure on the pole. And as soon as I release that pressure, it comes back with my hand ready for the next land switch. So this swing weight is an important piece of the Nordic walking pole. Not as important when I get to the point where I'm going to keep these poles up in front of me. These poles don't have the same kind of swing weight, but then they don't need it. But they're not pushing behind me, they're working up to me. And Nordic walking poles, sometimes people ask how long does that rubber tip work for you? How long does it last? Once you've gone through the tread, it's just like the tires on your car, you got to replace it. So most people will go a season. I think that's a little bit of catch-22 here in Arizona because you only have one season. But in Minnesota, people start walking in April and they'll walk until about the end of October outside on hard surfaces. And so their tips will pretty much last them that 4 or 5 months of walking. But they're easy to replace and it's still cheaper than the gym membership. And it's outside. So to wrap it up, Nordic walking is the hot fudge Sunday kind of walk. We have all been told that we need 30 minutes of activity every day that gets our heart rate up. So then they say, go for a walk. No spandex, no helmet required. You can do it out your door. Probably have the clothes you need in your closet. So go do it, right? Now you've got Nordic walking poles to add to it because that's the vanilla walk. Anybody can do it. It's not offensive. It doesn't taste funny. It just tastes good. Now you've got Nordic walking poles to add to it, and your vanilla walk becomes the hot fudge Sunday kind of walk. So you now have better improved posture, a better heart rate. It's a lifting effect, so there's less pain in your knees, ankles, hips, lower back. And a little bit less strike force on that heel when you land on that foot. You're moving your whole body, and so you're burning more calories. You're standing tall, so you're breathing deeper, so your lungs are healthier, and there's better oxygen consumption through your whole body. And it's outdoors. It fits you with other people, although sometimes those mindful walks when I do it all by myself and I get my meditation time are the best times of my day. So and then the other piece of it is the rhythm of Nordic walking. There's something that happens when your whole body is moving in the same rhythm. Upper and lower body are on a cadence together, they're on a beat, and you move into kind of that runner's high. You can focus on you, let go of everything else, and you walk feeling really, really good in body, mind, and spirit. So, and as my friend Liz will tell you that the Nordic walking poles are the game changer for all of us, but especially for persons with Parkinson's when we want to keep moving every day, delay the progression. Questions?
I have two actually. Can you tell us how to adjust the poles to the right height for us? And also, can you, John, or you know about walking with community on how that helps?
Okay, two really good questions. Setting up your poles is really easy. So there's kind of two tried and true ways to do it. If I was setting you up with hiking poles or with poles that you're going to use in front of you, it's a simple 90, 90, 90, right? Elbow always at my side. So 90, 90, 90. There we are. 90, 90, 90. If I'm setting up Nordic Walking Queen, I like to do this and drop it so that now my hand is below my elbow. And the reason for that being is that I like to show Nordic Walking Queen from very easy, that if I step back and that tip is on the ground, and my arm is extended, I'm right at the right position. But really, 90, 90, 90 will do it. As far as music, sometimes the hardest thing for people to do is to get into rhythm with the poles. On tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, 10 o'clock, we will be at the Saharita Lake at the south entrance. And I got a whole bag full of poles and would really like to go for a walk. So I'm hoping a bunch of you come. You don't have to go there, no requirement to go all the way around the lake. You can go a little bit right there in the parking lot around the trail. But music is one of the things that's helped with rhythm. When I'm teaching my classes and I'll see people struggling with their getting their upper and lower body coordinated, right? What happens sometimes, once I put poles in your hand, and this again is for anybody. So I'm going to move these, but we'll put that on. There we go. What can happen is instead of walking out with the hand and foot, people start going this way, or they kind of do this. So it's what's happening is that we're forgetting that from the time we learned to crawl, we did everything opposite hand and foot. Our brain knows how to do that. But you know, we all think we control the universe. And so I'm going to make this pole do what it's supposed to do. If I just simply relax and walk and swing my arms, it gets a little bit easier. But music is definitely something that helps you get into, will help you get into rhythm with your poles. I'm not very good at marching songs, and so the only one I can ever think of is the ants go marching one by one. But you'd be surprised at how quickly they move into rhythm. They get their body, because they're focused on the song, they let go of their brain goes, oh my God, thank gosh, they went away, now I can do what I know how to do, I'm going to coordinate this, and so it all comes together. There is a sideline to that though. If you have Parkinson's, you might have to be thinking a little bit harder about what your body is doing, but it's still okay to keep moving with it. But also, if music relaxes you and you enjoy that, listening to that while you're walking, put it in one ear, keep one ear open for everybody around you. Don't ever shut yourself completely off. Other questions?
Linda, I was wondering if the grips, can you get out of those rather quickly if you had to with the straps?
I can. So the straps have a trigger on them.
Mm,
So all I have to do is hit the trigger
mm,
and pull the loop up and off the pole.
mm.
So I'll do that over here. So they have a trigger on the top of the pole. I hit the trigger and pull. Now the strap is still in my hand. There's a little parachute cord on there that attaches it to the pole.
So you can hit it with your
You
thumb.
can. I can hit it with the same hand. And The other thing about the straps is that there is that same quick release. If I got it stuck on something, it will release it and pull it. It's kind of like a seatbelt. Safety benefit. But I can't get in and out of it.
Was there a version?
Yes. So I have some handouts on benefits. And hopefully if you want to give it a try, it'll come Saturday. And if that doesn't work for you, we can set up another time. It would be really joyful for me to set up a regular time of walking for this group.
Mm.
And I'm pretty, my schedule is terribly full down here. I have links to videos and stuff that make it easy to watch. Also, there is a Exercise Strider still has, which is one of the manufacturers of poles without straps, and they still have a video and their book online that you can access for free. And we'll get that out to the group through your email. So you'll get that.
If any of you want to sign up to join us, we've got 11 signed up for tomorrow. It's not on TV. Before you leave today, I'll put down the date. Just so I have a schedule video. Thank you, Linda. So
Oh, thank you.